Well, we did it. Route 66 from Chicago to LA. 28 days, 4 adults, 1 dog, 1 cat, all in a Winnebago. This video documents our trip in the fall of 2021, and it shares some info and history that I hope you'll find entertaining and helpful too if you're planning a Route 66 trip yourself. Oh, and if you are planning a Route 66 trip, check out the link in the description to visiting66.com. I got a ton of free info on there to help you out, including a Google map with all the places that are in this video and like literally hundreds more things to do and see on Route 66. I think it'll be really handy for you. But this video is all about Route 66 in New Mexico, so let's get to it. Welcome to New Mexico, the land of enchantment. And our first stop is a truck stop, but not any normal truck stop. This is Russell's Travel Center, and they've got a free car museum, like a legit, real good car museum with tons of collectibles. This is the Russell family collection, and it's actually really well done for a free museum inside a truck stop. They got tons of collectibles and all these old vintage cars. Very cool and definitely worth a stop. Next, you'll hit the wonderful little Route 66 town of Tucumcari. This little town has loads of Route 66 icons, the first of which being TeePee Curios. This actually used to be a gas station, but when they widened the road, they lost their gas pumps. So today it's a gift shop with a great concrete teepee and a killer neon sign. Oh, and apparently Clint Eastwood stayed at the hotel next door. Tucumcari is also home to the completely refrigerated, air-conditioned, and iconic Blue Swallow Motel. Each room at the Blue Swallow comes with its own attached garage, and each one has its own separate, different mural inside. This motel is just really well taken care of and has such a cool vibe, and really one of the best neon signs on the whole route. And apparently the Blue Swallow's logo references a classic sailor tattoo. When sailors saw a swallow, they knew home was near. Next, a bit unusual for the arid New Mexico desert, is a natural lake called the Blue Hole. It is beautiful, crystal clear blue water. It's also 81 feet deep and known as the scuba diving capital of the Southwest. So you know I couldn't miss my chance to do a cannonball into this thing, but I think I kind of scared the lady underneath me. And damn, that water is crisp at 62 degrees. But super fun and refreshing. You could see how this would be a really popular stop for the Okies traveling this Route 66 back during the Dust Bowl. It'd be so nice to take a dip in this thing. Here's a little side tip. If you're not from the South in the US, pick up Bluebell ice cream from the grocery store. It is so good. I highly recommend banana pudding flavor. It's good stuff. And while we're on the topic of food, you're in New Mexico, so you gotta get yourself some green chilies. So we stopped at this local farm right outside of Albuquerque where we got some great chilies and bolita beans, which are kind of like pinto beans, but they're creamier and sweeter. Oh man, they were so good. And when we made it to Albuquerque, well, we needed some more food. So we went to Loyola's family restaurant. We got a sopapilla, which is like a fry bread, and it's so good. But they're also famous for their breakfast burritos with their red and green sauce. And here's a little tip. Ask for your burrito Christmas style, and you can get a little bit of both. And Loyola's was also used as a filming location for Breaking Bad a couple of times. Pretty cool. We spent the next few days in Albuquerque because we came for the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It starts bright and early, like 5 a.m. early, and they do these burns where you can see the balloons light up in the darkness, so it's just pretty cool. And then you're out in this massive field, and you see all these balloons start to be inflated, and it just goes on and on. There's hundreds, like if not thousands of balloons at this thing. It is crazy. It's really cool to be amongst these. Now, I'll kind of skip over this because the first day wasn't actually the best. It was a little too windy. So not a ton of balloons went up, even though it still looks like a ton of balloons went up. There's even more. So I'll tell you more about this on day 2. So after the balloon festivities for the day were over, we went to go do some exploring around the area and found the musical highway. Listen what happens when you drive this stretch of Route 66 at exactly 45 miles per hour. Pretty crazy, huh? There's little rumble strips in the pavement that have been engineered to play America the Beautiful. I love stuff like this. We were heading up to visit the town of Santa Fe, but there's actually a lot of good stops on the way. The first of which being the Tinkertown Museum. This is a kooky place. It's this eclectic 22-room museum with an assortment of a bunch of different miniature figurines that artist Ross Ward made for over 40 years. It's amazing, impressive, so many details. The figurines move. It's so cool. And these displays are huge. Plus you got walls made of over 50,000 glass bottles. And my favorite was Otto, the one-man band. Next up is the little town of Madrid, which is a small little artist town. But if you've ever seen the movie Wild Hogs, you may recognize this diner. They actually built this whole thing just for the movie. And when production wrapped, they just left the building here for the town to use. It's so cool, even in the movie, the name of the town is Madrid. And you can go inside and buy yourself some Wild Hog souvenirs and see where they actually filmed. You can see the door that William H. Macy breaks. And even do some little reenacting out front for yourself, so why not? And then a great place to eat in town is the Mineshaft Tavern. Great vibe inside with live music. And this is New Mexico, so there's green chilies on everything. So I got fried green chilies on this burger, and it was so good. Oh man, I missed that burger. And then we finally made it to Santa Fe, which is actually the oldest capital in the U.S. from 1610. Santa Fe is kind of a more relaxed artist town with some good architecture, although it did feel a bit touristy. I think there's good stuff here, I just wish we had more time to kind of get past that and settle into the town and find the good stuff. But a big quick highlight for us was the filming location of the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Man, I love that movie. Can't wait for the sequel, Triplets. The next morning it was bright and early for our second day at the balloon fiesta, and they started off by this awesome cow. Look at this. This is a hot air balloon shaped like a full cow. It's huge. People were going crazy for this thing. So this day was actually what's called the special shape rodeo. So it was a bunch of balloons like this that are all special shaped. So it's really cool. I mean, look at these things. They're incredible. What they can do with these is so awesome. There's even a balloon with more balloons on it. And some of these balloons even play off each other. Like there's this famous set of 3 bees. You got Tom and Jerry. You got Tweety and Sylvester even has a feather of Tweety's in his mouth. Love it. I'm a big fan of the Star Wars balloons. They had Yoda and Darth Vader. But my favorite was this upside down Humpty Dumpty guy. There's something about him that I just like. And again, just a massive amount of these, like hundreds, thousands maybe? And then things got even better. All these hot air balloons started lining up for a ring toss. So they come in here and try to control their height and speed, and then are literally tossing rings from the basket of the hot air balloon onto these big poles. It's pretty fun to watch, and extremely impressive and skillful. These guys are good. And look at these guys who got it on. He just places it on. That accuracy is incredible. That afternoon we made it to Pimentel & Sons. They're a small family-run company that makes guitars completely by hand. And they don't normally give tours, but we just walked in to check them out and were super nice, and they brought us back to their workshop and showed us everything. This was so fascinating and so cool to see this. Each guitar maker is a family member and makes a guitar from start to finish. We're not even musicians or guitar players, but damn, this was cool. For lunch, we went to a good, trendy little spot called Range Cafe, which actually used to be a gas station and tire shop. Later that night, it was more balloon shenanigans for what they call the Glowdeo. And this is where you get to see the balloons glow at night. It was too windy for them to take off, so they're all here on the ground, but it still looked pretty cool to have them set off their flame and light up like that. I think it might be cooler in person than it comes across on the film. And then they even finished the night off with the fireworks show. And that wrapped up our time at the balloon fiesta in Albuquerque, so it was time to get going. But what's a Route 66 trip without a little car trouble? So we got to spend a few hours at the shop getting the transmission on the RV repaired, but luckily it was a quick fix and we were back on the road shortly. Soon we hit the Continental Divide, where rainfall on the west of this drains to the Pacific Ocean and rainfall on the east flows to the Atlantic Ocean. And you can really feel the difference when you walk past it. Then we made it to Gallup, just like the song, and took a visit to the El Rancho Hotel. This is where all of Hollywood's A-list stars used to stay back in the day, and it's got a really cool lobby. Kind of reminds me of the movie The Shining. And all their rooms are named after celebrities who stayed here, and they got their photos all over the lobby too. Cool place. And then on our way to lunch at this used car lot, we stumbled upon this muffler man. Lunch was at Jerry's, which is a favorite of the locals, and it did not disappoint. This might have been the best food I had in New Mexico. A stuffed sopapillo with green and red sauce and loaded fries with red and green chili sauce. Oh, so good. You can't miss Jerry's. Well, that's it. We've gone through Route 66 in New Mexico. Thanks for coming along on the journey. Hope you enjoyed it, had fun, and learned a little bit. Hey, but don't you worry, the adventure is not over. We're still going to Arizona and then California, but Arizona's next. So go ahead to hit the subscribe button if you want to know when the Arizona video comes out. A lot of good stuff there. And don't forget, all the places and more that I mentioned in this video are available on the Google Map, which is available at visiting66.com. The Google Map has tons of POIs on there. You're going to love it. It's good stuff. So thanks again. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being here. And I'll see you in Arizona.